Talk Monday, and this is completely outside of my comfort zone. So shout out to Fabian for asking me to share on this. I know we know each other more from competing against each other and playing ball against each other, but always respected the work habit, never liked my shots being blocked or catching any of those elbows, but always a good battle. And yeah, I just thought I'd share. I talked with my wife and asked her some of the things that she thought I could share in our journey of being married, going on 12 years now together. And I think one of the biggest ones for me was just really realizing no matter how much I told myself, I really cared what other people thought. And it's still an ongoing journey and something I'm continuing to work on. And just something that I know I used to struggle with a lot, worrying if people would trust my intentions or how they would judge my actions, worried where I fit within people's image of success, and never really stop and ask myself, like, have I even decided what being successful is? And it was interesting, I played basketball for a long time. And when I stopped playing that, there was like this big piece of me that was missing, and I was ready to move on in life, but equally felt like that was part of my identity and who I was. And I feel like one of the most powerful journeys I've gone on in this last, 10 or 12 years is really detaching my worth of myself, my belief of myself, and the value of who I am and what I bring to the table, of what I do to create income. And I don't know if you'll relate to that at all, but I know that was a huge one for me. And I think with COVID, a lot of us have seen that people who did certain jobs and certain professions well, which I understand why they have pride in it and why they contribute that way and how they feel great about it. But a lot of people who did nothing wrong had it all taken away from them. And the way that they identified and the way they had images built up was based on something that was never fully in their control. And I know I'm glad I went through that in my early and mid 20s, and I started to decide what I wanted to identify with. And these will be different for everybody, but I know I had to identify, like, what are my values? I know for me, my faith, my marriage, my kids, like, those are the three things that I really wanted to build a life around personally. And I don't think that has to be your values by any stretch of the imagination, but asking yourself, like, what are the things that I really want my life to be about? And when I identified to me my values were, it was a tough pill to swallow, to realize that I wasn't living very strongly through any of them. I wasn't necessarily the husband I wanted to be. Definitely didn't start out as the father I wanted to be. I now have 3 beautiful daughters. And just being willing to face myself and look in the mirror and go, Paul, what do you want to be? What do you want to identify your life by? Like, how are you going to evaluate your success and your contribution and the significance in your life? And man, it was not easy. And there's kind of books on it and people talk about it a bit, but I think it's something a lot of men actually go through. And a lot of times for me, it was easier to win outside of my home than inside of it. It was easy to go perform and make money and work hard and work 2 or 3 jobs to follow through for other people, to bring my best energy for other people. And it wasn't always easy to do that for my family and my kids. And I identified that's something I wanted to win in more than my careers and my endeavors. And so, it's been a journey. I'm definitely grateful for a lot of great men in my life who set great examples and kind of called me on it once I told them what I want to, my life to look like. I'm grateful for my wife and her support, and have just been grateful that, I caught on to that early, because I look at some of the people struggling through it now, and I remember it. If you're watching this video and you're struggling through it now, man, I remember it. But figuring out and identifying your own idea of what success is to you and not looking left and looking right to decide how you fit with everyone else is such a tough journey, and it's a strange one to go through, and it's not always easy. But I just have really found for myself, like, picking the things that are important to me to identify and quantify my life by has made it easier to support other people who succeed. It's made it easier to be happy for other people and their success. It made it easier to help people when they failed, because I'm not worried about how it makes me look or makes me feel. But man, I struggled with that for years and years, comparing with everybody else. And it was poisonous on the inside. It was hard to be excited for other people. I would secretly be rooting against other people, knowing in my heart I didn't want to, but I was just so exposed and so insecure because I just wasn't getting right with myself. So I hope that adds value to someone. I hope that someone can relate to some of the journey I've been on. And thanks for the opportunity here to be able to share. I hope some of my hindsight can be your foresight, or can continue to encourage you if you're on that path. And if none of that relates to you whatsoever, that's one of the cool parts of being in life that I found, is that everybody's struggles and things they have to overcome are completely different, and it's not one size fits all, and we all have different ways to contribute. So thanks again, Fabian and Men's League, for an opportunity and a platform to maybe share some of the things that I've learned, and I hope that adds value to anyone who gets a chance to watch it. So have a great week.